Hello Indie Game fan, Turn-Based Fest is finishing up today where if you're early, you may still be able to get some great games on sale on Steam, but let's look towards the future beginning with Demiurges, a promising title which I suspect is a knock-on effect from Songs of Conquest, where that game shows how the Heroes of Might and Magic-like is a possibility these days, and since I grew up with that series, makes this of interest to me. I selected more general strategy titles, excluding tactics, RPGs and deck builders, which you will see in the coming days, where an example of such a game that doesn't quite fit into those categories is Mystical Kingdom, a card-based city builder where you're building up into the sky. It looks decent enough and I hope the systems are deep and strategically interesting. The 4X strategy genre is one that I don't usually touch due to what seems like the massive amounts of time needed, but an upcoming title that looks promising is Feudums, one that of course has a medieval setting in a time where feudal lords were a thing. They tout their vassalage system as their unique selling point, where it is more about building up a strong network of vassals under your banner, but of course proceed with caution as Game of Thrones has already warned us. The Ouroboros King plays with a central idea which is not new, in that they're trying to mess with the tried and true concept of chess by adding in other units. It is not the first game to do so, and indeed, there are a couple more which are part of Turn-Based Fest as well, but it wraps it up with a roguelite map structure and looks strategic. I have a feeling that this will be hell to balance, but given that it is single player and that roguelites do dare you to break the game, it all fits nicely together and is one to watch. Diluvian Winds has shown up on the channel before, where this is a management title set in a small hamlet at the foot of a lighthouse. We have to welcome weary travelers into the fold and to work together to face the dangers of the rising tide. It does look pretty cute and does remind me of Spiritfarer, looking pretty decent as well. As a Heroes of Might and Magic fan, I was so happy to discover Broken Alliance, so much so that even while it does not have a trailer, I wanted to give it a mention anyway, since it looks very true to its inspiration, and I'm more than happy to see indie developers take the lead on this, since the original IP is rotting with Ubisoft at the moment. I immediately fell in love with the look of Mystical Conquests, where it is on the minimalist side of things but looks kind of neat. According to the developers, this merges 4X and survival, but the look and feel of this sure reminds me of Civilization. The units represented on screen are very cute, so hopefully the strategy portion will be good as well. A game with one of the best art styles is Yoon. Not the most memorable of names, but I suppose it works for what they're trying to go for. It's a strategy title set over the ruins of the Roman Empire, where you battle for control over the British Isles, having to expand your territory, gather resources, and build up your army for conquest, with 8 playable factions which are supposed to be unique, so that adds variety. Scorchlands is another strategy title worth a look, since this is a city builder that has you attempting to terraform a hostile moon. Interestingly, this has both magic and technology, where you need to construct massive cities which are essentially factories in order to power your ambitions, looking neat as well. $10,000 coins, the Golden Merchant is an example of a game that I never quite know where to slot in my videos, so it ends up in a list like this, where it is a merchant simulator that has you buying low and selling high. There's also a turn-based combat portion, visual novel and choose your own adventure sections, and inventory management, but honestly, the most memorable thing about this so far is the character running animation, which does look pretty funny. Me being me, of course I really love the look of Ouroboros, a pixel art title that is a digital adaptation of a tabletop board game, where I almost put it in my video of the best looking upcoming pixel art titles, but held off since it was an adaptation. You are the villain in this scenario, placing down terrain tiles and recruiting monsters to take over the overworld, where it has a 7.4 rating on Board Game Geek, so it should be pretty good. A title which got a significant visual update since we last took a look is These Doomed Owls, a card-based survival city builder where you're placing cards to generate resources and construct buildings while having to fend off external threats. You play as an omniscient but not all-powerful god, being able to do things like cast lightning to attack your enemies and to protect your people, looking kind of old school in design, similar to games like Populous or the city building part of ActRaiser, but polished up for modern times.
We rebels who defied heaven with arms fell headlong from ethereal skies, hurled, vanquished into a dim, abyssal gulf.
I have to give a special mention to Solium Infernum due to the pedigree alone, where this comes to us from the developer of Armello, which is very good, so the next title is of course of interest, where that game released in 2015, so it has been a while since we last got something from them. It is only a cinematic trailer, but the screenshots look good, where you play as an archfiend, attempting to ascend the throne and to rule over hell, looking pretty awesome, and is actually a remake of a game from 2009.
We raised our great capital, Pandemonium, from which his dark majesty ruled, till vanished he did from his infernal throne. From our strongholds deep we now rage against one another, each fixing our plans upon the throne. Here, at last, I shall be free. To reign is worth ambition, though in this place of darkness made visible, better to rule in hell than serve in heaven.
One of the most promising titles in development has been Inculinati, where it has gotten pushed from one date to the next, having the amorphous this winter release window, so I'm expecting it in January, but we don't have a confirmed release date as of yet. It is an awesome art style inspired by medieval books, where you choose a commander and lead a band of animals to attack your opponent, where it looks awesome with a nice variety in troops and even humour in the game, being one of the most highly anticipated titles for good reason. Of course, I have to give yet another mention to this Heroes of Might and Magic-like title, but it does have a twist, where instead of the fantasy setting of its inspiration, it is sci-fi instead. It goes the entire mile in its tribute, having base building, overworld exploration, resource management, and turn-based, hex-based combat, which easily earns Silence of the Siren the #1 spot, where you can watch this video for my recommendations of the best tactics games.